5 sports talkers of the day. Now, it's time for Dan Barreiro's Top 5 at 5. Brought to you by Gutter Helmet of Minnesota. Never clean your gutters again. Learn more at gutterhelmetmn.com.
A little late on the Top 5 at 5. It's turning today into the 520 Sports Fix because we had Alec Lewis over the top of the 5 o'clock hour. Guardsy is out today. He's expected, I think, and hope back on tomorrow's broadcast. Brett Blakemore is here for a mini Top 5 at 5. Is the Abyss in effect? Is there not that much to get to, or do you have a couple of good nuggets, would you say?
I've got a couple things. It feels like the Abyss is in effect because the World Cup, this is the first day without a World Cup game in like 3 weeks.
Good point.
So it feels like it's just barren.
I absolutely... Well, there were some days for a while where there were like several games, right? And then I got used to at least 2, right?
Yeah.
How many did we have yesterday? Was it 2 or 3?
We had 2 the past couple days.
Yeah. One in the late afternoon, great, and then one at night. I was very much looking forward to that. Our next match is tomorrow, correct?
That is correct. France and Morocco at 3 tomorrow.
Do you give Morocco any chance?
I mean, I think it will be close. I think it can be a 2-1
Morocco's
game.
Morocco's legit, right?
Yeah, they're a good team.
Yeah, I mean,
France is just the class of the world right now.
They are.
So, Friday, La Roja, Spain and Belgium.
What time is that game?
That's 2 o'clock. So we'll get the second half right here.
I might be distracted like you are on Sunday mornings.
Think about it. Will your hoodie be in time?
I don't think so. I tried to get expedited shipping, and I could. It's a nice looking hoodie. It's actually a little busier than most of the hoodies I prefer, and it's not black. Most of my hoodies are black or blue, dark blue.
Yeah.
But this one was just too compelling for me. They've not. What is the term? Conceded a goal yet? Is that what we say in soccer?
They have not conceded a goal. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Which is pretty remarkable, is it not?
I mean,
further proof that sometimes the best offense is a good defense.
There's several LeBron stories, and unfortunately, neither one of them include the Minnesota Timberwolves.
What?
I saw one to go back to the opening segment of the show. Steph Curry said today, I'd say more so I'm interested just to play more golf with LeBron.
I saw that. Yeah.
Steph Curry, unbelievable golfer. If you ever watched.
That's what they say, yeah. He
is really good. And then Bob Myers, familiar with him.
Yeah, he's now running the Sixers, right?
Correct. Well, he's basically made his sales pitch to Rich Paul, basically saying why he should go to Philly. So everyone's getting in. And we heard from Johnny last week, the Wolves are ramping up. They better start ramping up even more because it looks like everyone's circling.
He ain't coming here. What I wanted to find was, let me see if I can get it via X. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Sham's latest report narrows it to 3. Let me see if I can find it. Unless that was a fake account, fake shot. You know, that happens sometimes, right?
Yeah, you got to be careful.
I could have sworn I'm scrolling down. Was it yesterday? No. Maybe I did make it up. I thought I had read a belief that it's likely down to 3 teams. Miami, Cleveland, 4 teams. Miami, Cleveland, Golden State, and Philly. He had Philly in there, who you just mentioned, Myers. We're not going to, he ain't coming here. It's a nice dream. It was fun. It's harmless to, I guess, participate, but it's not happening here.
I respect trying to reverse jinx it so that he lands here. I respect that. What was your favorite? You're probably not. What was your favorite Justin Verlander moment? He has announced that he's retiring.
That's it, huh? 3
Cy Youngs, 2 World Series, an MVP award. What says in the ESPN article, an undoubtedly Hall of Fame career. I think that would be correct. He's 43 years old. He said, I never wanted to retire because of a milestone, a number, or a date on a calendar. I wanted the game to tell me when it was time. Over the last several months, I've realized the time has come. What was your favorite Justin Verlander moment?
He's had a bunch of them, man. What a horse of a pitcher, for sure. How old is he, did you say?
I did. He is 43.
43 years old, man. That's a pretty good run.
That's a really good run.
He lit us up a few times. I can't find the tweet I'm looking for here. I don't know what it is, but I'll...
for the Shams bit?
Yeah, for the Shams bit. I did notice Did you see? D'Lo is on the move again. So there's this massive 6-team trade that people have talked about that involves like 1 million teams, right? And D'Lo is in the middle of it, traded, I think, from the Wizards to the Memphis Grizzlies. I can't imagine a better place for him to be than the Grizzlies. A screwed-up organization at this point that is basically starting over. So I'm guessing it's money. You know, that he just represents a contract and money. But that's we have to, I think, research how many different teams D'Lo has now been on, and if he's going to eventually set the record and be moved around more than any other significant player. At one point, he was a highly regarded player once upon a time. I can't believe there's been very many players of his ilk who has been traded as often as he has. There's a message there, I would say, to D'Lo fans, if there are any left.
Lastly, I saw this article that made me chuckle. Colorado quarterback Julian Lewis, I believe is how you say it, was talking at Big 12 Media Days, and he said, he asked, what was the biggest difference between last year and this year? And he said, and obviously Deion Sanders was his coach last year, my play, I'm actually looking at defenses now.
Wow.
Last year, we wasn't really looking at defenses much, just kind of high school free balling, just out there playing football.
Really?
But it's a lot bigger than that now, so it should be fun. Wow.
That's quite an indictment on the coaches, is it not?
And I don't know how you get away with that.
Yeah, I don't either. That's juicy. I was unaware of that. The other NBA nugget worth mentioning, there were people, again, delusional in this town, thinking, well, maybe Hachimura could, slip through the cracks, the former Laker, and end up here. He could be our answer in the front court. There was never a chance in hell that they had the kind of money necessary to bring him here. And I think he ends up going cross town from the Lakers to the Clippers. I want to say it's a 2-year deal, $14 million. You gotta, I know you want it bad. I know we got a big hole in the front court, but that was never even close to being a realistic option, as again we are finding out. Don't blame me for this observation, okay? I didn't say it. I quoted it in my most recent tweet to the Deadhead community. The Dead are the Allman Brothers without the talent. Don't blame me. Don't shoot the messenger. You know when I know I got the Deadheaders? When their response is, you're over your skis on this one, Dan. That's when you know you got them. Oh, you're way out there this time, Dan. You don't want to make a fool of yourself. That's when you know you got them. Where the card is, you're just too stupid to understand the talent of the group and the makeup of the group. You're over your skis. I love that one. That means, as somebody once said, mission accomplished. I'm going to come back with the nickname that I was reminded of by an enterprising texter. I can't believe when we're talking about local, athlete nicknames over the decades that I forgot this one. This guy was one of my favorites and a tremendous contributor to many very successful Minnesota Twins teams. We'll get to that. We'll prepare for Special K, Pat Kessler. And you know what else we have? A nugget from Dan Minnesota about nicknames. When once upon a time, the members of the Minnesota Vikings front four, the vaunted front four of the old days, rejected a nickname that a lot of people grew up with, believing was one of the best, I guess you could say, position nicknames in the history of Minnesota Vikings football. So we'll get to all of that and some Special K stuff on politics when we return.
Bumper.
I wish the American media would take a great look at the views of the people in Congress and find out, are they pro-America or anti-America?
Pat Kessler, because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
I can't trust Obama. He's an Arab.
And Kessler.
Tear down this wall.
I did nothing wrong at the Minneapolis airport.
Senator, you're no Jack Kennedy.
And Kessler.
And now, to help Dan break down all the tough questions in politics, it's our own
And Kessler.
Political Wonk.
I feel like a supermodel, except like times 10.
It's Channel 4's
And Kessler.
with Dan Barreiro on the Fan. Yeah, boy. And now, it's time for Ode to a Dead Guy.
That's twice in the same day, and this is late-breaking news that I was unaware of until an intrepid listener alerted me via X. One of the columnist heavyweights in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul, Doug Groh, has passed away at the age of 78 years old. Groh was first a sports columnist at the Star-Tribune, and when he got the bump to be the so-called city-side columnist, metro columnist, that's when I got the call. That's exactly what allowed me to get here to, apply for the sports editor position.
Did not know that. I did not know that.
And I will tell you that he was extremely generous in that regard with his time with me and supportive, the whole bit. He worked, I think, in the market for 27 years. I'm looking at the Star-Tribune story that lays all of this out. And he also did a lot of reporting, but I think probably because the Metro side stuff was the stuff he did most recently, that's where most people who are, or were around then or old enough to remember reading him, I'm sure you included, probably associate him more with that than the sports side of it. His hometown was Watertown, South Dakota. He apparently delivered the Minneapolis Tribune in his hometown back in the day, went to school at the journalism school at the University of Missouri, worked at newspapers in Boonville, Missouri, Milwaukee, and St. Louis before getting his dream job at the paper. And as I mentioned, sports column writing. And in fact, they review him, call him a sports writer until the late 80s. Well, no, he did some of that, but he was a sports columnist for sure. In fact, there were times when I was working in Dallas where I would run into, I almost thought they were like, I couldn't see one without the other. It would be at some national events, it would be Groh and Royce. That's who I would tend to see. And that's like, there's the Twin Cities contingent right there. And then, as I mentioned, it's interesting, Kessler, because the transition from sports columnist to metro columnist doesn't always work out. Sometimes it does. Sometimes you don't even get the opportunity. People don't give you the opportunity to do it. And he made it his own, very effectively and pretty seamlessly. Because there's some similarities, but there's a little bit different art, I think, to being a good topical metro side columnist. So sad news. He apparently had been battling various forms of cancer for a while, and I think most recently, according to this piece, had been in hospice.
A couple of things I remember about Doug Groh, who spent a lot of time at the Capitol for a columnist, and that was kind of unusual at the time. But Jesse Ventura had just been elected, and Doug Groh was somebody who, as a writer, wrote with tremendous wit and extremely sharp wit. So sometimes the knife would go in and it almost felt good. But he wrote about Jesse Ventura, who was a larger-than-life target for a newspaper columnist, and frequently we'd sit together in the front row of a press conference, and Ventura went at him. There would be a recent column.
We
actually
have sound bites. I don't know. I'm guessing it'd be pretty hard for Blakemore to find them in the system where you were probably, right next or near him in that same room.
Next to him.
Where it was the old, why are you laughing, Mr.
Can I do
Groh?
that? Can I do it? Can I do it?
Go ahead.
Why are you laughing, Mr. Groh?
Yes.
Although that sounds more like
I'm not sure. That sounds like, I think, Jabba the Hutt.
No, that sounds like Oscar the Grouch. And this was around the time that Jesse was in his heyday, and Groh would write something about him, and he would single him out.
Yes, he would.
Very much like President Trump does nowadays, but Trump does it with real animosity and sometimes cruelty. And Jesse, I think, just went at him like a WWE wrestler. And the thing about Doug Groh is that he would just laugh and laugh and laugh. And you could hear him. He had this infectious laugh, this memorable laugh, that you could hear him down the cavernous hallways of the Minnesota State Capitol. So you could hear him coming, his big, big laugh. And he just saw amusement in the human folly of politics.
We'll find it. We're reminded because I think on Common's soundbite pages, I don't know if he plays it as often as he used to, but there are a couple of the Groh.
So it would be, why are you laughing? And then it was, and he'd stop mid sentence like a few minutes later. Are you laughing again?
Yeah.
It's like,
at least you're not. And then there's another one. At least you're not laughing now.
Yeah, you're not laughing now, are you?
Too good. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Doug Groh, just a great, good man. Really proud to have known him.
He ended up. I think he spent some time at Minpo. I think he took a buyout.
Yeah.
From the Star,
which surprised me.
2007, it was.
Yeah, it was 20 years ago. Yeah. And so I was very surprised and shocked by the news. And R.I.P. Doug Groh, because he was one of a kind.
Yeah, there's no question about that. So our thoughts are definitely with his family. He had a very, very good run here for sure. Blakemore has gotten back in the room now. We'll ask him, if you look around while Kessler and I start this segment going in some other directions, it would be probably in the Common Man Bits pages. Okay. There are one or two involving Governor Ventura and Doug Groh. I assume they'd be labeled more for the Jesse.
Yeah, would it be labeled?
Then it
Why are you laughing,
Why are you
Mr.
laughing?
Groh?
Something like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Why are you laughing,
so see
Mr.
if you can
Groh?
find one or two of those.
Is that you're doing it again?
Yeah,
you're doing it again.
Do we have it?
It's here somewhere.
Yeah, we'll find it.
For it, and if you
because
find it,
that was during those days when it would just send Jesse off. But,
it was pretty good. Yeah.
And Groh just loved it. He loved that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's no question about that. So a significant, great run that he had here for sure.
Really was.
We were talking about sports nicknames, Minnesota sports nicknames earlier, because in general, the whole nickname concept is just not as cool anymore. There aren't as many. There were so many back in the day. I don't know if it was a more innocent time, whatever the case may be. And I asked people to remind me of some of the ones that might resonate years later here. And I'm embarrassed that I didn't think of, I think, one of the best, Frankie's Sweet Music Viola.
Oh, of
Sweet
course.
Music's a great nickname. That's not punchy because it's two words, but it was outstanding.
And he was assigned that nickname for some reason, and our listeners will come up with it.
I honestly don't remember.
Was there some dude playing a violin? I mean, what is it?
I'm not sure.
Oh, I have totally forgotten that one, and I hope our listeners remind us.
Somebody will know the backstory for sure, but that's a really good one because, again, it's not obvious unless you know the backstory, but yet it resonates, and in a lot of ways you could say whatever the original meaning was, when he pitches their sweet music. I mean, that was the beauty
sure.
of it. Yeah.
And what was, have you mentioned KG the Kid? Duck Kid?
We mentioned,
I mean, is that a nickname that he gave to himself? Big Ticket, of course.
Big Ticket was Harlan. The Kid, I think.
He gave that to himself. Did he not?
I don't even remember that. You might be right.
Yeah.
You might be right.
The Kid was here to, whatever it is. Yeah, I agree with you listening earlier that we don't have the greatest sports figure nicknames here. So we got to get on that.
Yeah, I mean, look, trail ref guy. in quotes, do you find this funny, Mr. Groh? I see you're laughing and smiling. Just wondering if you find this funny. Well, at least you're not laughing and smiling anymore. Oh, I guess you're back at it again.
Where do you find it? Where is it?
We'll find it. You're doing. He's doing some research.
Guy, yeah, let's find it. Yeah,
I think it's hard to understate just how many pages of crap.
Yeah, that's true.
Every show has.
Yeah. And by the way, with all of the national reputation of iHeartRadio, I mean, can you have AI find that, Brett Blakemore? I mean, is AI involved in here
somewhere?
Yeah.
Well,
I'll find it.
You'd like to think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I know you will. I know you will.
There's literally 3 pages of, wow, what a great blank mind. And there's 3 pages of it.
Of just that.
Yeah, like this.
Wow, what a great loosey-goosey sports mind.
Yeah. I mean, that's the type of stuff I'm trying to filter through to find.
Yeah, it might take you several days. You might not be able to get back to us for quite some time.
But thank you for sending that in, Trail Ref Guy, because it's got to be out there, and I'm very busy right now.
Well, here's
so
what,
I could look it up.
Here's what Wikipedia says about Sweet Music, the nickname.
Yes.
They claim that it was basically a local sports writer declared that watching the Southpaw pitch brought Sweet Music to the Metrodome. I don't know who that is, or I don't remember if it was
wasn't
an
you?
ink-stained red. It was definitely not me. I'm not that clever.
I think I might have. This is probably it here. You ready?
All right, let's listen.
Okay.
You find this funny, Mr. Groh? You're smiling. Do you find this humorous?
Well, there's people in the church that we weak-minded people.
No, they're not. Do you find this humorous, Mr. Groh? You're laughing and smiling. I'm just wondering if you do. You didn't answer my question, Mr. Groh. Do you find this humorous?
No, I find it keeping with 4 years, sir.
At least you're not smiling and laughing now. Oh, I guess you're back at it again now.
How good is that?
It's so good. It's like I'm in the room again.
Yeah, it's so
good.
It's
so great. And so that became part of our stories. And Doug Groh, he was going to take that. In many ways, he'd be like Royce. He just answered him back, which, oh my God, that's funny.
What I remember about the Sweet Music nickname is the tradition became that every time he pitched in the Dome, there was a Sweet Music banner unfurled. It was down the right field line.
That's what I remember.
Deck, right?
I do remember that.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
So it wasn't, in my mind, some Italian guy from a restaurant coming to play in the upper right field in front of a banner on a violin.
Viola.
Not like that.
I've said. But
it would be a viola.
We haven't had him on. We used to have him on all the time in this show. We've not. Part of the reason I've hesitated to put him on as much as we used to is he's basically sworn off Major League Baseball. He's become kind of like the old guy who can't stand the game. And a lot of times it's almost like he's just not even interested in talking about the Twins or other Major League Baseball. He's become very curmudgeonly
How does
about
that
the
happen?
game.
I mean, do you know why?
He says he doesn't recognize the game now. He doesn't like the way it's coached now. It's not just
And he was a coach in the systems.
And he still is.
And
I
a good
think
coach.
I think he's still maybe doing some minor league work. And he was a tremendous interview because he had that New York sensibility. So he had no filter. He was much more honest. That's why when I covered the team, or I was around the team back in my columnist days, I loved the one thing about Frankie that a lot of, he occasionally would even come up to me and say, there's other guys mad at you for writing about this, whatever. And I said, are you mad at me? He says, no, because he said, I think mainly you write the truth. He said, people just don't always want to hear it. And to me, what that was about is he grew up in New York.
Yeah.
So if you grow up in New York media,
sure,
you kind of get, all right, there's going to be battles between the two sides. They got a job to do. You got a job to do. If you weren't brought up in that media environment, maybe you don't have that, quite that same understanding.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that he has soured on baseball, and I'd love to know exactly what it was, because the game evolves over decades and over 100 years, over a century.
Correct.
So it has been modernized to quite a degree now with the pitch clock and the video replays and all of that. But yeah, it's the same game. So I'm curious to know why that is.
Yeah.
I'll be researching that after the show.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
It would not surprise me at all. I need to get to you. Let me see if I can find this here. Or maybe I might have just sent it to myself via X. Let's see. It touches on a subject. Oh, here's the other nickname update I want to get to. This is from our guy Dan Minnesota, and I teased this earlier. I might as well pay off the tease now. So when you think of the Vikings defensive line, the front four from back in the days of Alan Page, Carl Eller, Jim Marshall, Gary Larson, what's the nickname you think of immediately?
I think of Purple People Leaders.
Purple People
Is that
Leaders.
it?
That's it. But here's what's interesting that Dan Minnesota found. He found a story, it looks like it was an Associated Press story that might have appeared in the Star Tribune, and it was from November of 1968. And the proposition is that one day they walk into the locker room, and somebody has put up a Purple People Eaters sign. And according to this story, they hated it. They summarily rejected it. Let me see if I can give you some of the details on this. This is, for example, this is the true, I guess you could say, spirit of 40 for 60. We're all in this together. Because at the time, if you recall, the Rams front four was called the Fearsome Foursome. The Dallas Cowboys defense was called the Doomsday Defense. And we were trying, apparently, to get Purple People Eaters going.
And Washington had the Hogs.
That's true. That was later. But
later,
yes, exactly. So here's what apparently the players, according to Jim Marshall, he's quoted, "We're satisfied as being the Vikings defense. Don't know if there's anything more ferocious than the early Vikings. We would rather not be singled out in name. We would like to think of ourselves as an entire team." When you start naming the front four, you kind of cheat the linebackers and the defensive backs. That's how selfless those old Vikings were. They didn't like being singled out for just that part of the defense, just that unit. Any notoriety we've gotten in making the big plays mainly can be attributed to the entire defensive team. Of course, we can't throw the quarterback if the defensive backs don't cover. And, of course, they don't usually make the interceptions if we don't make the man throw the ball quickly. The Rams might have their own thing. We have our own thing. If they want to be known as Fearsome Foursome, that's their privilege. We would like to be known as the Vikings defense. Not as catchy.
Yeah.
But they were against the Purple People Eaters defense. They didn't like it.
Well, I remember when that first happened, and all I could think of was that pop song, that novelty song, the Purple People Eaters.
Yes.
Remember that one?
I do, yeah.
One-eyed, one-horned, flying Purple People Leader.
That's from, or even earlier in the 60s.
It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be. But I totally get it. And, these guys are serious men. They're not going to have that.
No, I thought it was pretty harmless, and was not. I didn't realize that was part of the history of the club, of an important part of the history. Before we get into some stuff that you gave me, let me see if I can get an early rating. This is via your guy Michael Smirkanish. Mm-hmm. Apparently, he had Mark Halperin on, who unveiled his latest rankings of it's the too early game as always, but it's fun to play, of the Democrats most likely to win the 2028 election. Have you seen this chart yet?
Well, I actually, coincidentally, without prompting from you, happened to listen to this.
Oh, you actually listened to the podcast itself?
Well, no, it was his radio show this morning. I just happened to fall into it on the radio.
I'm going to have to interrupt you, even though I didn't, because I forgot we're one break behind. So we're going to pause. We'll have you respond to who he's got at the top of that list and what you make of it. Because, again, it's way too early. But
disagree with most of it.
There was one name in particular that was missing that I thought I want to bring up, too. So we'll talk about that. We'll continue with some other controversy from your guy, Kessler, when we come back.
Let Bumper to Bumper help your business. Reach engaged listeners every evening.
A question, Pat Kessler? And
yes,
I don't want you to take this wrong.
Don't have to answer it.
No, well, you kind of do.
All right.
Why do you hate the Grateful Dead?
Oh, stop it!
Oh, you don't want to be dragged into this, do you? You don't want any part of this.
Do not make me part of this.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I know what you'd say if you were honest.
What would I say?
I'm not going to speak for you because it's unfair.
So let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Do I seem like a deadhead? That's number one.
No.
50 years ago, would I have been a deadhead?
No.
Okay.
I don't think you would have been.
All right.
Which isn't to say that some of the bells and whistles associated with the Dead you might be in on.
All in.
Once upon a time.
Yep.
I think you might be past it now, but it's a sensitive lot. I have no idea.
It really is, and I respect the Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
As a unique.
But you don't fear it.
Can't hope. You can only hope to contain it.
That's right.
The Deadheads.
Yeah.
They are a unique American institution, iconic, and during the last Dead funeral a few months ago, I got reintroduced to them, of course.
Yeah.
And they're fine.
And you were reminded why you.
No, don't even. Why are you doing this?
Because I know that's what you mean, but you're in TV and you're afraid to say it.
Here's the deal. Okay. I'm not a jam band guy. Whether it's the Grateful Dead or your band, Fish, or Humphreys McGee.
Mm-hmm.
Look it up.
Kids.
So, yeah, I'm not that's the kind of music that I don't necessarily listen to. I found it to be meandering.
I'm going to edit what you say.
A little self-indulgent.
You think? Let me tell you something. I think what you're really saying, without saying it, is you actually wouldn't mind a jam band if the jam had any point to it or any place that it actually got to.
If it had a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah, because jam, you can still have structure.
Absolutely.
People think that you can't, but you can. That's why.
So the fear that I have with this, and I respect all the Deadheads, go for it. I'm totally in.
You're afraid of the Deadheads.
I am. I will say that. But the vibe is that if you don't like the Dead, you're an idiot. And I don't want to be. There is a band that comes to mind when you posted that, and I saw this that you named the Grateful Dead, which I thought was a terrible mistake on your part.
Might have been.
But I had a band that came to mind.
Go ahead.
Kiss.
I thought you were going to say Eagles.
Kiss.
I can't argue with that.
Kiss. Overrated.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would
have at it. Have at it, listeners.
I think the Kiss. The folks devoted to Kiss, I think, are less defensive and will be okay with that.
So you could be a Deadhead, and this is one of the great, beautiful things about the Dead, is that you could be a Deadhead at 20 and at 80. I'm not sure you could
at the same time?
At the same time?
Yeah.
I mean, for your whole life.
Okay.
I am not sure the same could be said of Kiss. If you're a 25-year-old rock and roll all night.
Might be right.
Yeah, I mean.
All right, so this list from Mark Halperin,
yes.
way too early on.
Way too early.
Democrats most likely to win the 2028 presidential election. The guy he has at the top of the list is your guy out of California, the governor of California, Gavin Newsom. Do you agree, or do you think he's just stating one of the obvious names that tend to get thrown out? Because some people believe the path is real. Other people think the closer we get to it and the more he is, dealing with the daily grind of running for president, the less likely that he would end up holding up. Where are you on that?
Well, I disagree with the number one pick, Gavin Newsom.
Who would you put number one today? Again, way too early. Does a name come to mind?
Well, I am getting a lot of good vibes in the political world from John Ossoff and Josh Shapiro. Both of them are on the list. I see that Kamala Harris is number 6 on the list of 10. And maybe we should have gone 10-1, but okay. Number 7 is John Ossoff. Number 6 is Kamala Harris. I do believe she has tremendous support within the party, certainly highest name ID pretty much of anybody in the party. But how do you recover from that disaster a couple of years ago?
Tough.
It's very, very difficult. Number 5 is somebody I say do not sleep on, and you're going to say I'm crazy, but is AOC a contender? Is she a contender? Now, I think she's only, let's say, 36, 37 years old. I think she's 36 years old, so she's barely old enough to be president of the United States. And if I were her, I would absolutely wait, because I think she's like the lioness circling Chuck Schumer, and that I think she may make a run for Chuck Schumer's seat, be a U.S. Senator in New York for a couple of years, and then run. So that's who he has on his list, number 5.
All right, let's do this. I got to get one more break.
Yes,
we'll come back. If you got more to get to on this, and then we got to get to, what's the name of this Maine guy? Is he dropping out?
Well, that's what I'm going to talk about with Plattner.
It's Plattner.
Your guy, Graham Plattner.
We'll get to my guy, Graham Plattner, in a minute, and there's a lot of interesting tentacles to that story, and we'll try to squeeze in a couple of other things. Kessler is back with us after a brief pause.
You're listening to Barreiro on The Fan.
From the 1-800-ASK-GARY Traffic Center.
This report is...
Chance of top-tier tickets from John Mulaney to Smashing Pumpkins, My Chemical Romance, and more. Don't wait. Enter now, KFAN.com. Keyword contest.
All right, we got to get to the. In fact, texters are demanding that we get to a story that you brought up during the break involving Mitch McConnell. But you had one other item you wanted to mention regarding this way too premature list of potential Democratic presidential candidates. What's that?
Yeah. I was going to say only that AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is one of the only top progressive Democrats who declined to endorse Graham Plattner, the dude in Maine,
your guy,
who's disintegrating amid allegations of sexual assault by a former girlfriend and many other instances of drunkenness and cruelty and bad behavior that he attributes to alcohol and to PTSD. We are still awaiting word whether or not he is going to drop out of the race. The irony here is that so many Democratic leaders, progressive leaders, ran to the front of the parade, including Governor Tim Walz and Senator Tina Smith, who have withdrawn their endorsements, in order to elect someone. And now it appears this was the easiest state for Democrats to pick up.
Yeah, right.
And now it looks like they're not going to do it. So watch that one.
Well, who's the guy? He writes for The Atlantic, one of the political guys. What did he write that got my attention? Maybe the process to rise from random guy to U.S. Senator should take more than a few minutes. And I think we're always really both parties. I think it's that deal of, okay, we got to find the next big thing.
Yeah.
And
absolutely true.
There's something scary about that coming together. Like I said, this is the one we've just decided. And I like the horse race. I like the process. I know it's throwback and it's back to smoke-filled rooms in a sense in that regard. But it is a little scary where once you decide, you just decide and you decide that quickly. And because don't these guys and gals hopefully need to show us something over a period of time, right?
Well, there's a couple of things about that. Yeah, the vetting by the party is something that's really, really important. So that if you are going to run for office, leaders of the party, including political parties right here in Minnesota, need to do some due diligence to find out what is in the background of these candidates. It used to be you ask them.
Yeah, right.
You might do a cursory criminal background check, see if they got any DWIs. But this stuff that we're hearing nowadays is pretty crazy. And the allegations of sexual violence or sexual adjacent violence, the abuse of women, that kind of thing. Not to mention in Graham Plattner's chest tattoo of a Nazi symbol that he says he didn't understand. Everybody accepted his explanation for it, including the leader of the progressives in the United States, Bernie Sanders, who has now withdrawn his own endorsement. So yeah, this is really tough. How much should politicians, you and I talk about this all the time, be required to tell us about themselves, including people like Mitch McConnell, people who are sick, people who disappear from Congress. How much should we know? Presidents who disguise their physical well-being. I mean, it's really interesting.
Last September, a progressive strategist named Morris Katz, speaking to the New Yorker about Plattner, whether he was qualified to run for U.S. Senate. Quote, within a few minutes of talking to him, I was like, this guy owes it to the country to run for Senate. It's like, come on, man. You got to get out of your own way sometimes, or because that's the sort of thing that I think makes it more likely that you have this end to this sort of thing, something unravel this way. I do want to give you one other quote I want to get your reaction to. This is from your guy, Kevin McCarthy, on the Plattner allegations. Did you read this quote?
Read it to me.
The one thing I know about Republicans is when we had a very bad candidate, we didn't vote for that person. We walked away. Now, he said this presumably with a straight face.
On.
How do you do this with a straight face?
Well, I know that quote. It really is good. And they're saying, well, which possible candidate are you talking about?
Who could you possibly be referring
You know what he
to?
said? Matt Gaetz.
He did mention Gaetz, yes.
Gaetz.
Yeah.
And then, of course, George Santos, the serial
forgot about him.
truth teller.
Yeah.
But what about your guy, the president? And now the Republicans are on the high road. They're on their high horse, so to speak, saying that you can't, Graham Plattner, why would Democrats support a candidate who is accused of sexual abuse? And it's like, oh, my God. There is no self-awareness, and irony in the United States is dead.
So what is the Mitch McConnell mystery? What's this about?
Mitch McConnell, according to a number of reputable news organizations, has been disappeared from the Senate for many weeks. And NBC News and Politico, I believe, have reported that someone at Mitch McConnell's residence called 911. The paramedics arrived. Unidentified person was unconscious. They did CPR. We have not heard anything from Mitch McConnell ever since. So today, the governor of Kentucky, who should, by the way, be on the list of presidential hopefuls, demanded that Mitch McConnell reveal what's going on. There is a conspiracy theory. President Trump's one of his closest friends and influencers, Laura Loomer, is reporting that Mitch McConnell is brain dead and will never come back to the Senate. I want to emphasize nothing is confirmed. No one knows anything, but that is getting millions and millions of views on social media.
But that's what happens in a vacuum there's no information being passed along.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And the conspiracy is that they're trying to keep him alive past a certain deadline in Kentucky to keep Thomas Massey, Trump's nemesis, from running for the seat, because they're going to have to, if he steps down from the seat, or we hope not worse, if anything happens to him, they're going to have to appoint somebody to fill that seat. So it's a situation where Thomas Kean, the congressman from New Jersey, disappeared for 4 months and didn't tell anybody where he was, what he was doing, what was wrong. Here in Minnesota, we have 3 Minneapolis city council members. One of whom has taken a month leave of absence, but they have been, to their credit,
pretty transparent. Yeah.
Here is what's wrong with me. Here is what I'm trying to deal with. I don't mean what's wrong with me. Here is the issue I am dealing with, and here is how long it'll be gone. So if politicians owe us anything, and I think they do, that is the way to do it.
We have a minute left. Arnie Carlson, who's occasionally joined this program many times over the years, has issued a warning to Minnesota Democrats. What's this about?
Be careful. Arnie Carlson writes with 2 other prominent Minnesota political people, says that don't be smug. Don't act like you've got this thing won. He says to Democrats, because of everything that's been going on, Amy Klobuchar's running. We have a couple of strong, the Democrats do, of candidates for U.S. Senate. He says the fraud thing is bubbling up. People are really dissatisfied. Republicans, Democrats, Independents, with everybody in office. They're unsettled. They're dissatisfied. And he says, predicting fraud allegations are going to bubble to the surface again, and that will be the main thing, and it could cause Democrats the election. There you go.
May Arnie Carlson live forever.
Isn't he something?
He's unbelievable. He's just
Isn't he something?
sharp as ever. We got to go. Great material today. A lot of controversy, and good luck dealing with the KISS Army.
I love KISS.
Oh, you changed your mind, did you?
Bumper to Bumper with Dan.
Quite a program today. We want to thank our outstanding array of guests. Jamie Watson on the World Cup. He joined us at 3:30. We had Alec Lewis at about 4:45-ish, 4:50 or so on his poll on fan perception on the Minnesota Vikings. We got into some other good stuff with him, too. And Kessler in studio, as always, had a lot of good music conversation.